When it comes to making real-life decision, having an option is a luxury. I didn't have many options growing up, but I had a loving mother and a loving family and a supporting friends, and she's here with us today. I started working side jobs since I was in high school. My first job was in an internet cafe, when that was a thing, as a support boy. Later, I started working in a wedding hall in Jerusalem. And up until I graduated from the engineering school, I was working in bars and restaurants. When I graduated, my first job as an engineer was in Nigeria. Like most of Palestinian graduates today, I couldn't find an opportunity. Life is strange and is unpredictable. I'm humbled to stand in front of you today after adding to above foundational career experiences, another close to 7 years of mixed experience in business development, entrepreneurship, technology. Education never ends. A good philosophy to live by is all I know nothing. That's why, back in July 2018, as I was taking a course on Coursera online, titled Introduction to Personal Branding, I found myself diving into this topic because I despised this new trend, and I wanted to know what it's all about. Guess what? Just diving into a topic out of curiosity gave me a new mindset. Now, I look at myself with the same lens that I look at companies and organizations, which is trying to identify the mission statement and the value proposition. I want you all to do this test today, and it's very simple. Step number 1, think about 3 words that you want people to think about when they hear your name. It could be an expertise, a project, or a company. Step number 2, write your own mission statement as a human being on this planet Earth. Step number 3, all organizations have what is called board of directors, the people who make decisions. So you need to build yours. And I want to share with you my result. Sorry. Okay, I can carry. My 3 words are innovation, fairness, and advancements. My mission statement is to lead an ethical, principled, and happy life and share the knowledge and experience that I have and that I will acquire with all those working towards more just world. And who sits on my board of directors? The chairman is logic, since I'm an engineer. Then love, truth, and contentment. And as you can see from this picture, I know my mission, and this is what I do. And I want you all to know your mission. It's very important. Now that you know way too much about me, let's dive into talking about my topic, entrepreneurship, specifically entrepreneurship for the underdeveloped. Entrepreneurship and innovation is not something new. As human beings, we evolved from the very basic forms you can even imagine. We have been inventing and innovating since the beginning of time. But one might ask, why do we hear the word entrepreneurship, innovation a lot nowadays? I think we do so after the turndowns in our both financial and economical systems, and due to the malpractice we did as human beings in harming our environment. We needed to bring the science to surface so people can engage in solving real-life problems. Entrepreneurial education as well started with courses offering like family business and new enterprise in the beginning of the 20th century. Towards the last quarter of the 21st century, the number of structured entrepreneurship quartered multiplied by a number of 4, according to Princeton Review staff article. And now, as I stand in front of you here today, there are entrepreneurship workshops, events, hackathons, startup weekends taking place in the most unconventional spaces all around the world. This is good, but we need also to dive deeper. A lot of people working in the development of the entrepreneurial ecosystem try to copy models such as Silicon Valley or Shenzhen in China or other advanced technological capital. But we all know that every place, every city, and every village have its own socio-political and cultural context. Thus, it needs to be treated as so. But what do we mean by entrepreneurship ecosystem? Professor Daniel Eisberg, who's leading the entrepreneurship project in Babson College in the US, identified that there are 6 main domains that form any entrepreneurial ecosystem. Number 1 being policy, which is what kind of laws are in the country, commercial laws, intellectual property rights, regulations. Number 2, finance, access to finance. What percentage of the population is banked? Are there friendly loans for the youth? 3 is culture. Is the culture accepting of taking risk? Does it support people who are working on new project? 4, support. Does this country have fast internet? We in Palestine, we just recently got 3G. Is there data centers and other supporting infrastructure? Human capital. Does the university graduate the talent needed to jump into entrepreneurial and innovation wave? Markets. Can we sell to other countries? Do we have the access? Do we have the reach? In our markets, can we actually conduct a pilot studies to verify the viability of our solutions? C, entrepreneurship is not only a word that you look at face value. If you dive deeper into all of these domains and taking into consideration countries like Palestine or countries in Africa, we have deficiencies in all of these domains. Yet, let's shed the light in this context on Palestine. In Palestine, 1/4 to 1/3 of the labor force is unemployed. It's the highest rate in the region. This rate reaches close to 50% in Gaza and among the youth. Our economy is crippled by dependency on donor aid. We don't have control on our borders and our natural resources. All in all, this unfair political context create abnormal market dynamics to start with. However, the World Bank released a report in May 2018 studying the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Palestine. The report concludes there is the foundation for an entrepreneurship ecosystem, but it is still forming and evolving. The number of startups, as you can see from the graph, is rising, but this is not indicative because of the aid money problem. A lot of projects here start by taking grant money. Then they don't manage to sustain operation after the money is utilized. With all what I mentioned and with all the difficulties that we have here, if you visit Palestine today, we have vibrant co-working space, structured incubation and acceleration programs, really smart talent willing to learn and energetic. The startup community and entrepreneurs managed to secure small wins here and there. We managed to create business linkages with the region, with multinational countries. We managed to secure funds not only from local investors, but also from regional and from Europe-based. We still not yet got our breakthrough or our major success story that would help us put Palestine on the map of the technology and innovation map. Another important sector to shed the light on is the outsourcing sector. Hundreds of Palestinian engineers are working with multinational companies such as Microsoft, Intel, Cisco, NVIDIA, and more. They proved to be world-class entrepreneurs solving complex problems and engineering competitive solutions. But I don't know what the future actually holds for Palestine. I don't have answers. The competition is fierce. Speaking of the future, in his book, the legendary historian of our time, Yuval Noah Harari, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, he talks about the great decoupling, how automation, AI, simple lines of codes are erasing huge number of jobs. So we are in a dilemma. At the same time that we are looking at entrepreneurship as a way to create jobs, the technology is advancing in a way that it's erasing jobs. So what do we do? What do we do to our future generation? What their future will look like? It's not that gloomy and foggy. It depends on what we do on it today. That's why, like all the previous speakers spoke today, we go back to education. Futurist philosopher Alvin Toffler, in his book Future Shock, he said, the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who can't read or write, and I will add even code, but are those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And this should be done quickly and fast. Therefore, I want to suggest the following entrepreneurial education framework that goes with this saying. We need to teach the future generation how to adapt, how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Number one, entrepreneurial education should be multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. Students need to grasp that everything is connected. The simple product that you hold in your hand has design, has chemical engineering, has physics, has hardware, has software. They should think this way. Number two, we've been hearing this since forever. Problem solving and critical thinking. It's about time that we add involvement. Involve the students and the generation with real life problem. It could be as big as climate change or as small as creating logistics for a school recycling project. Number three, I call it high level of multi-directional exposure. At a time where politicians are clustering our humanity and dividing us, we need to expose the future generation to other religions, to other cultures, as well as to other technologies and innovations and equipment. It's very important. Number 4. In her book, 2006, a psychologist from Stanford University talked about growth mindset. And she talked about the difference between a growth mindset and a difference mindset. She actually shed the light on the power of belief. Students need to believe they can. This will take them to the second level, which help them unlock their true potential. Finally, we are in desperate need for ethical leaders in all domains. That's why education should inspire people to be good and do good. Entrepreneurship is not an easy path. Now, entrepreneurs are willingly pursuing this path. In the future, they might be unwillingly need to do something with their life. The most important characteristics of successful entrepreneurs is persistence. But this persistence should come after a value. As long as you are creating something of value and is solving a problem, nothing should stop you. On the contrary, a lot of people will lend you a hand and you even don't know how. My message to the next generation and to all of you here, if you have a brother, a son, a daughter, a friend, or someone you know who is working to create an impact in this world and solve a problem, it's either you support them, even in-kind support, or simply get the hell out of their way because they are on a mission. Thank you.